where guna is possible, where there is fear of sinning, then a person should move away. And this is a lesson for us. That whenever we are in such a place, whenever we are in such a gathering, whenever we are with such friends, that we realize that if I stay longer with them, then we are going to fall in sin. If I stay longer with these people, then there is chance that drugs might come in. That is our duty to move on. We walk in past a park and we see 3, 4 friends, 5 friends loitering around. And they are people that we know. But we know that they are going to be up to something. They might take some intoxicants. Then from far, assalamu alaikum. And move on. Exit. And this sunnat of Yusuf, where he ran from a place of sin, is not just physically for us. Nowadays, the amount of guna, the amount of sin, the amount of immorality, the amount of immodesty that takes place on social media. This is a same principle that we have to apply. If you are on a group chat, if you are on a certain app, if you are on certain website or certain applications, certain social media, where there is the chance that the talk is oriented towards bihayai. Women have started to come onto these chats. Girls have started entering, then straight away it's our duty that we move up. Because where there's smoke, fire is definitely going to be there. Where there is smoke of guna, where there is a smell, there is a scent of sin coming, then sin will take place very quickly. So this running away from guna is just not physically. In fact, even in situations, on social media is even more. Because when a person is on social media, nobody can see him. If he's in the park, somebody can see him. If he's on the street, somebody can see him. If he's in a town center and he's about to do sin, he will at least have some haya and shame that somebody might see me. But on social media, it's in his hand. Nobody is there to see. And sometimes youngsters spend the whole night. I've come across youngsters that go on the social media and they carry on till 6 o'clock in the morning, the whole night. So wherever we feel, wherever we have to be alert, we have to be vigilant. Wherever we sense that this certain group is going out of control now. There are girls participating and the chat is becoming very immodest. There is sense of bihaya in there. Move on. And don't even go near it. And the second thing is that even if we feel that certain places there is no necessity for us to go there and there is chances guna, don't go to that place. And this is likewise for even social media apps. That we know that I have no need for Snapchat. What am I going to do with Snapchat? I'm not on business. What am I going to do with Twitter? What am I going to do with these apps? I have no business. It's got nothing to do with me. It doesn't stop my life. It doesn't benefit my life. So why should I go on to this? We should not go on these things. Because it will absorb a person and it will drown a person so deep that he will forget that he is a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he will do such things that he never even thought of. So Mufti Taqi Uthmani Sahib, Damat Barakatuh, mentions a story in one of his Islam Mawaiz, that a pious person, a good person in communities, a good person with good standing, he once went to a cinema. And people said, cinema? So he said, I went to a cinema because I heard that there's a cinema and there is fitna there. So I wanted to seek a kya fitna so I can tell other people. I went to a cinema, why? So I can see what's going on, so I can tell other people and make other people alert. But he said, but what happened in reality? In reality, what happened was when he went to see the fitna, he fell in the fitna himself. He was the next victim. And this is what's happening right now. People are talking about certain apps, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, X, Y, and Z, all these apps. And one person's got nothing to do with it. He doesn't know much. But because people are talking about it, he thinks, let me go, what's on this? What is this Snapchat? What is this Twitter? And he becomes the next victim. But if it doesn't bother us, don't even go on these. Because these things are taking away our life. They are stealing our life. They are stealing precious moments of our life. So what's the lesson we understand? That whenever we see that we are encircled, we have fallen into a place where we are surrounded with sin, then first and foremost, try to move away. وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابِ. So Yusuf ran towards the door. وَقَدَّتْ قَمِيصَهُ. So he started running towards the door, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala previously mentioned that وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابِ, that she came and she locked the doors. So Yusuf was conscious. He knew the doors were locked. Yet he still ran. What's the lesson in there for us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that whenever you fall into a sin, or whenever a sin is coming towards you, or whenever you sense that there is sin here, then whatever is in your ability, whatever is in your capability, you do that. Leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yusuf was conscious. He knew for sure that the door is locked. Yet, from here till the door was in his capability. From here, running to the door was in his ability. What did he do? He did something. Okay, if I run to the door, it's locked anyway, she's going to catch me there. If I run to the door, it's locked anyway, what am I going to do? I've got to come back anyway. So I'll just stand here. No. What did Yusuf do? Straight away he realized, yes, the doors are locked. But from here to the door is in my ability. It's in my capability. So I'm going to exert all my efforts. I'm going to run to the door. Whatever happens after that, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is with us as well. Sometimes we think, this is not in my ability. Even if I delete this app, I am going to stay in this sin. If I stop friendship with this person is still going to influence me. Whatever is in your capability, whatever is in your control, whatever is in your ability, at least do that. At least go ahead and do that and leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala your sincerity that, Ya Allah, I am trying hard to keep you happy. I am trying my level best. I am exerting all my effort to do your obedience and to keep you pleased and do everything that creates your pleasure. Ya Allah, this from here to there is in my control. Allah, after that I cannot do. I am helpless. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open the doors for you. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whoever fears Allah, whoever accepts taqwa, يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Allah will make an exit avenue for him. Allah will make an avenue for him and he will become safe and secure. So, whatever steps are in our control, we should exert them. Take effort. Himmat. Have some energy. Have some conviction. I can do it. And go ahead with it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see how much we can do. Allah will open the doors after. وَالَّذِينَ جَادُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Before the doors open, before the streets open up for you, before the avenues open up for you, subulana, jama of sabil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا. Whoever exerts effort, you exert the effort, you put the effort, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. We will guide you with the rest. You take this step, we will do a second step. وَيَهْدِي إِلَيْهِ مَنْ أَنَابَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَهْدِي إِلَيْهِ مَنْ أَنَابَ. Who does he guide? He guides those that turn to him. So for us, is a guide turning. Once we turn to him, Allah will guide us. So there's two, it takes two. It takes two hands. One is our side, that we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will guide us. We take the path, Allah will open the path for us. If I remember rightly, Hazrat Mufti Hussain Ahmad Badi rahmatullah alayhi, he was taken hostage and he was put in jail. He was imprisoned in Malta jail with Hazrat Shaykh al-Hind rahmatullah alayhi. For 3 years, his ustad and his student, Hazrat Mawlana Hussain al-Badi rahmatullah alayhi, Shaykh al-Islam was put in jail. And every Friday, for 3 years, his ma'mul was every Friday, he used to wake up. He used to do ghusl for Jummah. And then he used to wear good clothes. He used to wear the best clothes that he had available. And then he used to walk from there to his cell door. And he used to look up and he said, Ya Allah, this is in my control. To walk from here to the door is in my control. The door is locked. Again, what happens? It's not in my control. But you have told us that first ila dhikrillah, when Jummah comes, you have made an obligation upon us that we have to pray Jummah with congregation. Allah, I am surrounded. The doors are closed. But to do ghusl, to wear good clothes which are sunnah, and to walk to a masjid early in the morning is also sunnah. But for me to walk from here to a door is in my capability. To open a door and let me out is in your capability. Allah, I am doing this. And for 3 years he done this. For 3 years, every Friday. Steadfastness. So my young friends, this is the lesson. That whenever we see something, then whatever is in our control, we should do it. So anyway, Mufassirin said Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam ran. He dashed to the door. And Zulaikha followed. They are both running. If somebody was to watch this on CCTV, then outwardly they are both running. But inwardly, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was running to a door of Jannat. Mufassirin say that Istabaka Yusuf ila babil Jannah wastabaka ila babil nar. She was running to fulfill her desires. She was running to Jannah, to a door of Jannah. And Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was repelling Guna. He was going away from Guna. He was running towards Jannah. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was running away from sin. She was running to fulfill her sin. She was running to fulfill zina. So outwardly, two people look the same. But inwardly, two totally opposite motives, two totally opposite needs. So anyway, they ran, and while she was running, she started to get frustrated. Okay, this plan that I devised, I put so much effort, I enticed him, I seduced him, but yet Bagra, he's running away from me. So she chased him out of anger, out of frustration. She held on to the back of Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt. Yusuf alayhi salam kept running, and she kept pulling. And in the end, the force was too much, so the shirt ripped. Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt ripped from the back, But this was no coincidence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like everything, made this also happen. Because this shirt was going to become a very, very great piece of evidence for Yusuf alayhi salam. It was going to prove his piety and his purity. So this shirt had to rip. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَلْفَ يَا سَيِّدَ هَذَا الْبَابِ وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابِ وَقَدَّتْ قَمِيصًا. She ripped the shirt. وَأَلْفَ يَا سَيِّدَ هَذَا الْبَابِ, and they ran. And as they ran to the door, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابُ. Mufassirin says the doors were locked. But Yusuf alayhi salam ran to the doors, and as soon as he ran to a door, the lock fell. And the door opened. Then he ran to the next one, and the lock fell. They said there were some persons, there were 7 doors. And as he ran to each door, each lock was miraculously opening. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was divinely breaking the locks, and they were opening, and he ran right to the last door. And as they got to a last door and he opened it, وَأَلْفَ يَا سَيِّدَ هَذَا الْبَابِ. All of a sudden, she sees that they found her master by the door. They found her husband by the door. And now she is totally gobsmacked. She is astonished. And he is also astonished. So, Kiyawta, I've been caught open-handed. I've been caught red-handed. So instantly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings the scene of the makr and the trickery and the cunningness of a woman. As soon as she devised all this plan, but as soon as she was about to get caught, look how she tries to wriggle out of this situation. Look how she tries to prove her innocence. قالت ما جزاء من أراد واستبق الباب وألف يا سيدة على الباب. As soon as they saw that Aziz Misr is in front of us, तब तो कुछ कहना पड़ेगा कि 2 hours running और किया हुआ. तो Yusuf stayed quiet. Yusuf didn't say anything. Some say Yusuf didn't say anything. Mufassirin say he didn't say anything because he was a slave. She was the master's wife, and this is the master. So outwardly, Zahiran, he is minor, and they are senior. Halaki, he was a Nabi, and he was pious, and he was senior to them. But outwardly, in worldly terminology, he was minor. So he said, quiet. Okay, let them speak. Some say that out of his gentleness as a Nabi, he did not want to open up her evils and sins, so he stayed quiet. If she doesn't say anything, why should I even open it? I will not say anything. So he stayed quiet. But she had to prove her innocence. So straight away she said, قالت ما جزاء من أراد. Straight away she said, what can be the punishment of the one who intended evil with your wife? Straight away she plays the blame game. Straight away, as soon as the husband's there, she puts the blame on Yusuf alayhi salam. That what is going to be the punishment of those who intend evil with your wife? So she first blames Yusuf alayhi salam. She accused him. But remember, she is in deep love with Yusuf alayhi salam. And she was scared that if Aziz Misr, the minister, if somebody is doing wrong to his wife, evil with his wife, then there's going to be death penalty. So she didn't want this to happen because she was deeply in love with him. So she devises the penalty herself. She says, ما جزاء من أراد بأهلك السوء إلا أن يسجن, except that he be in prison. Put him in jail. أو عذاب أليم. If you think this jail is very minor. So she is telling the husband now, she's manipulating. She is telling Aziz Misr, okay, how should you go about and what punishment should you give? Either imprison him. But if you think imprisoning is very little, what about such a severe case, such a severe incident, and such a small punishment, can just put him in jail? Then she says, أو عذاب أليم. Then the highest punishment will be that Adabul Alim, give him some painful torture. Give him some painful punishment. Why? Because she didn't want Yusuf to get killed. So Mufassir mentions that as soon as she started to throw the accusation of Yusuf, as soon as she started to point the finger at Yusuf, initially Yusuf stayed quiet. Initially Yusuf did not want to hurt anything back. He didn't want to accuse her. He didn't want to open up her secrets. But as soon as she pointed the finger and blamed him, that he is having evil intentions towards me, Yusuf said, قال هي راودتني نفسي. It was she. قال هي راودتني. It was she who tried to seduce me against my will. It was her who planned all this. It was her who tried to seduce me, who tried to put me in this plot, who tried to trap me. I am innocent. I am the victim of all this. So Yusuf ﷺ clearly made it out to the Aziz that I am in no position of blame. I have done nothing wrong. I am not the victim. In fact, it is her. And Hazrat Mawlana Shafi Thamim mentioned in his Bayan al-Quran. Hazrat Mawlana Shafi Thamim Bayan al-Quran is a very famous tafsir. And nowadays, every person who does tafsir is in need of this tafsir. And a deep story behind this tafsir. when Hazrat Muhammad Rahmatullahi wrote this tafsir, Bayan al-Quran, once one of his murids, Saliks wrote, Hazrat, I saw a dream, and in the dream I was asking Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that, Hazrat, what is the tafsir of this ayat? Is the ayat ki tafsir kya hai? So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Maulvi Ashraf Ali ki Bayan al-Quran ko dekh lena. Look in Mullah Ashraf Rahmatullah's Bayan al-Quran, you will find a tafsir there. So this murid wrote to Hazrat Ashraf Rahmatullahi, Hazrat, kal raat ko this happened, I saw a dream, and in the dream I saw Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and I asked him, Hazrat, what is the tafsir of this ayat? And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself pointed towards your tafsir, meaning acknowledged that this is a tafsir of great caliber. Hazrat Ashraf Rahmatullahi read this, and he said some ash'ar in ishq Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this is ulama Deoban, this is what Deoban is about, ishq Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, as Mufti Mohammed, after this letter, he wrote a poem that the whole world, this dream that you are telling me, the whole world is not a price for it. Meaning, this is priceless, this dream. And then after Isha, the whole night, what did he do? After Isha till Fajr, the whole night he prayed Durood Sharif. Durood Sharif, the whole night he stayed awake and prayed Durood Sharif. So in Bayan al-Quran, as the Mufti mentions, that the lesson we can take from this, and what we can realize, that the sunnah of the Anbiya ﷺ is that when a false accusation is leveled against you, when somebody puts a false accusation, when somebody hurls some slander against you, then it is your duty to relieve yourself and absolve yourself. Okay, I am innocent. It is not tawakkul. It is not out of akhlaq that a person says, no, usko jo karna hai, let him do. I'm not going to say anything. In fact, it is a person's job that he exerts effort to show that he's been accused and he is not blameworthy. In fact, he is not on falsehood, he is on truthful. He is right. And he should, in case a time comes where he needs to open up the secrets of that person, he needs to open up the ills of that person so that the blame does not come on him, this is also permissible. That he can say, no, isne to ye kiya tha, and that's why he is blaming me. And they say, by doing this is not even su'i akhlaq. This is not bad characteristics. This is not bad manners. In fact, to preserve your dignity, to preserve your honor and status, if somebody gives you a false accusation, you should not stay quiet. You should clear it out. You should absolve yourself and you should make it clear, I was not part of it. In fact, I am bilkul bari of this. And if people don't listen to you, if people ignore you, if people have wrong thoughts about you, then at that moment, then you say, tawakkal to Allah. Then you leave it to Allah. That I have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that one day He will bring out the truth and He will prove me to be right and the other party will be proven wrong. So from this, Yusuf straight away, he defended himself. And he said, that it is her, she is trying to seduce me. So now the Aziz Misr is standing there. But Zuleika is saying that he is having evil intentions towards me. Yusuf is saying, no, she tried to seduce me, it's her. Aziz Misr is totally confused. He is standing there. And he is thinking on one side, my wife, my lifelong partner, who has never betrayed me, she is saying Yusuf is having evil intentions. On this side, I've got a slave who I have seen nothing but piety, nothing but truthfulness, nothing but a chaste person, a truthful person. And he is saying that your wife seduced me. He is in this alam. He is confused. Kya karo? Iski baat manu, uski baat manu. Is she saying the truth? Is he saying the truth? Who is to be blamed? Kisne kya kiya? Yusuf becomes mutawajjih towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yusuf turns towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when a person turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's code of conduct. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's adat, that when his pious servants, when his good servants turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to assist them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to help them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at that moment when Aziz Misr, when all this is happening, the question arises that how did he react? He did not get angry. He did not go in a rage. And some Mufassirin say he did not go in anger and he did not go in rage because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept him cool. Because if by chance he becomes in a rage and he tries to attack Yusuf alayhi salam, this is a Nabi. If he says some ill word, this is a Nabi you're talking to. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him cool. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controlled him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has control over everybody and everything. So at that moment he didn't say anything. But now he is startled, he is surprised. Kya karu, what should I do? So two contradicting statements. She is saying this, he is saying this, she is blaming him, he is blaming her. Tab kya karu? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالشَّهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِيَا. A witness from her family testifies by saying, وَالشَّهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِيَا إِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ قُبُلٍ فَصَدَقَ وَهُمْ الْكَاذِبِينَ. That if his shirt is torn from the front, then she is truthful and he is a liar. Mufassirin say, Shahid. What does a Shahid mean? Shahid means a witness. What is a witness? A witness is a person who has seen an incident. He has experienced and he has seen an incident taking place. He sees it, and then what happens? He is called into the court, and in front of the judge he explains and he gives the whole narrative. He says the whole story. Okay, I saw this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. And the judge uses this to come to a decision. He comes to a verdict. He makes it easy. The whole picture is clear because she is saying this, he is saying this, and the witness says, no, I was there and I saw this. But in this case, there was nobody there. Nobody was present. It was in a locked room. So why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that there was a witness there? Mufassirin say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word shahid, witness, because this person that gave the statement, his statement was so heavy. His statement was so precise, so powerful, and so effective that the Aziz Misr, who is like the judge right now, he has to make a decision. He has to come to a verdict. He has to come to a conclusion. This witness, the statement he gave was so on the spot, shed so much light that straight away Aziz Misr understood exactly the whole scenario, the whole picture, and he could come to a conclusion that who is right, who is wrong, who is to be blamed, who is not to be blamed. Just like a witness, when he goes in the court and he gives a statement, the judge, everything becomes clear. Okay, she's making this part of the story, he is adding this story, the witness's story is said this is wrong, in this place this is wrong. The person that said what he said made exactly sense to the Aziz Misr. Now, who was this witness? Some said this witness was a cousin brother of Zuleika. He was a Chacha's Bhai, Chacha's son. And he came with Aziz Misr. They both came and they both met him at the door. So when he saw that Aziz Misr is confused, she's saying this, he's saying this, so then he stepped back and he told Aziz, okay, bhai, look at this. This is a principle. This is the way to realize who is right and wrong. Look at the shirt. If the shirt is ripped from the front, then she is right, he is wrong. If it is ripped from the back, then he is right, she is wrong. And he gave this. And he opened up the reality. And when the Aziz saw this, he realized that this is the truth. And some say no. Muhaqqiqin say no. The person, the shahid, this witness, was not an elderly person, was not the uncle's son. In fact, it was an infant, it was a baby that drinks milk that cannot talk. And this child was present in the room, in this room where all this argument was taking place. Where she was blaming him, he was blaming her, and the Aziz Misr was confused. This baby was watching everything. And when this baby was watching everything, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of miraculously, and out of Yusuf alayhi salam's mu'jiza, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this boy, this child, the power to speak. And he directed. And he was from the family of Zuleika. And he gave such a direction to the Aziz Misr that he did not call anybody liar. He didn't say Yusuf is lying, Zuleika is the truthful, or Zuleika is the liar and Yusuf is the truthful, or this. In fact, he came out with such a conclusion and such a principle that when the Aziz Misr looked at it, everyone was taught. Okay, number one is a child. A child cannot speak. And number two, look at the words he giving, such wise words, no blaming anybody. In fact, he gave a clear-cut answer that this is a sign, look at this and you will find out who is saying the truth and who is not saying the truth. So what did he say? He said, in kana qamisu qudda min qubul. If the shirt is torn from the front, fasadaqat, and she is truthful. Wa huwa min al-kadhibin, and he is a liar. Meaning, because logic, mind tells you that if it's ripped from the front, that means Yusuf must have advanced. And when he went to advance to Zuleika, she didn't want it. So she's pulling and tugging and pushing. And in Iskan Darmiyan, she ended up ripping it. And then he said, وَإِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُ قُدَّ مِنْ دُبُرٍ فَكَذَبَتْ وَهُمْ الصَّادِقِينَ. That however the shirt is ripped from the back, then she is lying and he is from the truthful. Because logic tells you, mind tells you, that if it's ripped from the back, that means how can Yusuf advance? How can Yusuf try to do this? In fact, he was running away and she wanted him. She wanted to fulfill her desires, and because she could not fulfill her desires, she became angry, she became frustrated, and she tried to hold him back. And when she tried to hold him back, he tried to run forward to go out of this, avert himself from this sin, and his shirt got ripped. So The last lesson for us is look a small child in the room, and through the miracle of Allah subhanahu through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power, through His majesty, and the miracle of Yusuf alayhi salam, a child that cannot talk, give evidence and give witness. And he gave such witness that no arguments left. He gave such a statement that nobody could argue afterwards. Nobody could say, no, but this boy could be lying. Because number one, is a boy that cannot talk. And what's the lesson for us? The lesson for us is that wherever we are in the room, no matter if it's a child that cannot see, cannot hear, whether it's the wall, whether it's the carpet, on the day of Qiyamah, everything will give witness. Because it's a human's nature that whenever he is put to blame, he always argues. It's his habit. If someone believes, give me proof. Straight away he jumps, give me proof. Prove it to me, evidence. On the day of Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His kitab will be put. وَوُضِيَ الْكِتَابُ وَتَرَى الْمُجْرِمِينَ. The books will be open, and straight away will argue. Okay, Allah, your Farisha wrote it, what's the proof? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have agents, secret agents. And who are these secret agents? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, CIDs all over. Agents all over. Who are these agents? Our own bodies. وَقَالُوا لِجُلُودِهِمْ لِمَا شَهِدتُمْ عَلَيْهِ يَوْمَ تَشْهَدُ عَلَيْهِمْ أَلْسِنَتُهُمْ. The day يَوْمَ تَشْهَدُ, witness, يَوْمَ تَشْهَدُ عَلَيْهِمْ أَلْسِنَتُهُمْ وَأَيْدِيهِمْ وَأَرْجُلُهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. The day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala witness, your tongue, your hands, your feet, they will give witness against you. حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءُوا حَتَّى إِذَا مَا جَاءُوا شَهِدَ عَلَيْهِمْ سَمْعُهُمْ وَأَبْصَارُهُمْ وَجُلُودُهُم بِمَا كَانُوا. The day that they will come, their own ears, their own eyes, their own skin will give evidence against them. Okay, Ya Allah, yes, this person, he made me listen to music. Ya Allah, yes, these eyes in the midst of the night, when everyone was fast asleep, he thought nobody's watching. Ya Allah, yes, he done, but not with these eyes. Yeah, the same feet will give witness. The same feet that we are using to walk towards guna, the same hands that we are using to do guna, the same eyes that we are using for guna. All these apparatus, all these, they are in fact Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's secret agents. They are CIDs. And on the day of judgment, if somebody dies without doing tawbah, all these body parts, hatta ki even the skin, will talk. Okay, Allah, this person on this day went here, he did this. It's my respected brothers, it's a very great cause for concern. Okay, wherever we are, whether we in the darkness, إِنَّ الَّذِي خَلَقَ الظَّلَامَ يَرَانِي, that Allah who created the darkness, He can see wherever we are. And on the day of Qiyamah, the same darkness will become evidence against us. So wherever we are, whenever the thought of guna comes, pray A'udhu, Bismillah, pray Qul A'udhu Falak, pray Qul A'udhu Nas, and move away from them. You are in your room on your own, and you have your phone, and inside there's an inclination ke kuch guna kar lo. You got your laptop, nikal jao, move away from it. Go in the living room, go in the front room, go and sit with your parents, talk to your parents. Whatever it takes, protect yourself from guna. Safeguard yourself from guna. Preserve yourself from guna. Whatever it takes. When a person keeps doing this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help will come. And when a person does guna by mistake, and straight away he realizes and he does tawbah, Allah is so ghafoor, Allah is so rahim, Allah will forgive the guna, He will forgive it in such a way that even the angels that wrote it, they won't even remember. When we make a mistake in our books, in school when children make a mistake, they rub it out, you can still see paint. Sometimes they cross it out and you look, you can still read it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala crosses and rubs out the guna. He rubs it out not like Tipex, not like a rubber. He rubs it out in such a way that even from the minds of the angels that wrote it is gone. They will not even know that you done this guna. So make tawbah all the time. Tawbah upon the gunas. And whenever we fall into anything like this, number one, try to run away from it. Number two, exert all your effort. And number three, always remember that all these things are around me. If I'm doing guna in the middle of my bedroom, the curtains are watching me, the light is watching me, the ceiling is watching me, the bed is watching me. What if on the day of Qiyamah they will give evidence against me? And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, keep us steadfast on Iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and give us the correct understanding. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.